Alrighty. As we're live, let's see what we got here. Top chat, good. I chat that. Let's head over just a touch. Alright, we should be good to go. Let me double check here. Audio
As
test
owner of
as we
Mint
do.
Mobile, I wanted to introduce our new family
I'm getting a
plan
lot
and a
of these
beloved member
phone
of
ads
my
lately.
family, my
I don't know what it
sister-in-law.
is. I guess he's on a bigger campaign for that lately. Trying to like do like a big push, big marketing thing. Trying to
He's on a bigger
to
campaign for that lately, trying to like do like a big push, big marketing thing. He's on a bigger.
All right, so that should be good. I got my live chat over here, ready to go. All right, let me go back here. Okay. Hey guys, Triple the Rager. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to stream where I want to discuss Angry Joe, for a couple of reasons. Because he's in this. It's not really about Joe necessarily. It's about what Joe sort of represents in this instance. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this. It's sort of like there's a lot that I want to talk about that's sort of disconnected, but what's happened recently with Angry Joe is sort of connecting it in my brain, and I'm like, oh, this can kind of be a springboard into that conversation. So we'll go over all this in a minute. Just some housekeeping stuff first. So I haven't been streaming for a bit. When did I stream? I don't know. Like, when was the last time I put up anything? Put that up. Let's see. I hate. By the way, YouTube. Why did you ever like? I like the idea of the videos in live, but can I just get an option to see my videos and live together? Because it used to be that way, and I used to be able to see chronologically what I've been doing. But see here, it looks like I haven't done anything in 2 months. See, if you look at here, when you look at videos, it will look like I sparsely upload. But then you look down here, and it's like, oh, he streamed a month ago, like not 2 months. So that's the weird stuff. So yeah, it's been a month. It's been a minute since Next Fest. I don't remember what day that was, but yeah. The reason for that is I've been working, obviously. I've been doing a lot of art, obviously, and just generally haven't made time in the schedule for it. And on top of that, I had to reset my PC at one point because the keyboard simply stopped functioning. The drivers on it got corrupted from some stupid Windows update. Thank you very much, Bill Gates, for that one. Forcing an update on me, which then nullifies my software to the point where I had to reset my whole PC. So, still setting it back up. This is sort of a test stream, which is why I'm not jumping back in with something like New Vegas or whatever. So we will continue here. So that's just where I've been, what I've been up to, working on stuff, and I figured it would be easier to do it with a streaming thing, kind of like I do like the live review of like Prey and live review of Wednesday. Those things are a little easier instead of trying to do like a whole, discussion video, because then I gotta get clips, I gotta edit it. I'm still setting up my editing software because I had to reinstall it, so I gotta make sure that everything's there, getting all the buttons set up right the way I had them, and just get back in the flow of things. So yeah, but let's go ahead and get started talking about this. So the reason I am even talking about this, which this came out of left field for me, I didn't expect this at all. I thought like, oh, okay, this is a thing, it's fine. But this is kind of what got it. And I watched his reaction to it.
Do two
And
WD2s make a W?
while I watched this video, I recognized like what Joe said in the video was like a little cringe. It was like, okay, but it's not off base from what he's been saying and how he's been acting in a couple of recent reviews of like, oh, this thing is fine, or he's been tending to overlook things in his content, and it's for what I assume is the sake of his own enjoyment of the content, which is fine. But if you're going to do a review of something, you have to consider all factors. You can't just pick and choose and be like, oh, this is fine. I bring this up a lot of the time where I'll say, like Battlefield Earth, right? I'll mention it every now and then. It's a prime example, and I don't know why I put it on that, but it's Battlefield Earth is a prime example of what I mean when I say that you can enjoy something while also acknowledging it's terrible. Because Battlefield Earth is not a film that's so bad it's good. It's a film that is technically proficient, but poorly written. And I should specify poorly rewritten, right? And yeah, the UI for the OBS has changed because I got the latest version of it. So yeah. So yeah, that's the thing with me is I will never look at Battlefield Earth and be like, oh, I overlooked this part. No. That part's stupid. This part's stupid. That thing's stupid. It's okay to point things out and be like, that doesn't make any sense. This is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. But the rest of it's okay. You know, it's sort of you gotta have these sort of nuanced things. And you gotta call shit out when it needs to be called out, right? Which Joe, in the past, the reason I even watched him in the first place was because I watched him for years. The reason I used to watch him in the first place was for the game reviews, and because they were no bullshit game reviews. He would go through the game, and he, to this day, will play through a game for 100 hours, and make sure he does all the things and gets a good feeling of the game. Excuse me for a minute. Oh, I don't know what's up with my nose today. Got these sniffles. But that's the thing is he will be thorough with it, right? Which is what I enjoyed about his content. And at some point, like that's just how I've viewed Angry Joe. I even made a video about him at one point, just because a couple years ago people were giving him guff over the fact that he wanted to take like a little, I think it was like 2-month, 3-month break, something like that, when it was not Broketober. It was what was it? It was like that. It's that little part of the year where there's like no games. It's like over the summer or something, like right before Broketober. And, that's when you get to all the games releasing in fall, which is, was the usual schedule a couple years ago, which was like, and to this day, it's like release the things in time for Christmas to get people hyped for it, But yeah. Anyway, point being, people were giving him guff over that. I made a video defending him because, people were like, oh, where's the reviews? Where's this? Where's that? It's like, he don't owe you shit as a content creator. No content creator owes you any amount of their time, right? Does that mean he has a right to disrespect his fans? No, and we're going to talk about that as well. But if a guy needs to take a break, guy gets to take a break. Simple as that, and you don't control that. You don't control what he does in his own life. Now, what he does on his channel and in an official capacity on his social media, those are points of contention. Those are things that you can be like, what the fuck are you doing, Joe? Like, what? So, that's just the thing. So, we'll go over this video real quick. So, we got the TMNT stuff in here. So, basically, he just goes over the teaser trailer. I thought it was an okay trailer. A bit. I love the Turtles, right? And, you can see Joe smiling. He's happy. He loves the Turtles, too. I like the Turtles. I do. I like my Turtle Boys. But they peaked years ago, and nobody will let it go. And they won't admit that, like, all the stuff now is mediocre at best. And at worst, it's just kind of, like, weird adaptations and weird continuations. The animation is still really solid for all the different projects they've done with it. But it just, And this is the thing. I was talking to my buddy about this, too, the other day when this trailer came out. I was telling him all about it and how it's fucking kind of stupid. Like, when you look at this trailer, it has, like, corporate boardroom, like, syndrome, right? Like, it was clearly not designed by creative individuals. It was designed by, like, a boardroom of people that were like, this is what the kids want, So it's aping the like style of Into the Spider-Verse, the cell shading, right? The hand drawn cell shaded, sort of the wackier animation, right? And it's not exactly the sort of 15 frame stop motion thing that they went for in Spider-Verse. It's a little smoother, so I'd say more around like maybe 20 frames. So it's just short of regular 24 frame per second like film, but it's still shorter for animation wise, because you can see it's got a little bit of a jerk, but it's all still very kind of smooth. And I'm not completely opposed to the design of them either, except for the fact that, like, why does Mikey have braces but Donnie doesn't when Donnie also has messed up teeth? Where did you find an orthodontist for a turtle? Shit like that. But this is more of like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of style. This is not a feature film, Fight the Shredder, Bebop and Rocksteady kind of shtick, And it feels like they're going back to that. But they're also having these, like, sort of haha loud noises, millennial type of moments, right? So, like, here, they're in some fight or something. I don't even know what they're doing here. Like, Raph falls over, and then his shit bounces around the room 8 times, which doesn't make any sense. Donnie has this squeaky-ass voice. I think, if it's not the guy from Amazing World of Gumball that voices the little orange fish dude that he hangs out with. I don't know what his fucking name is, Wilbur or some shit. But I've seen a couple clips of that show, and if it's not that actor, I would be surprised just because it sounds exactly like him with a squeaky, shitty voice. You know? And here it would have been like, this is the thing, is the joke is he is in pain and he's making a loud noise. Whereas if this was done with like the live action turtles back in the day, then Mikey would have made, or Donnie and Mikey would have made some reference to. It could have been like a reference to Ace Ventura, just like and Joe even mentions that in his video, like, oh, that's some, when it gets to that point, he's like, oh, that's like some, Ace Ventura energy, right? Also, Shredder has a fucking afro now for some reason. Not quite sure why. I'm pretty sure there have been very few moments. I don't know. Hold on. Like, how many times have you actually had hair in his designs? Or no, not Shredder. Doi. Why am I saying Shredder? Fucking Splinter, not Shredder. My brain is... They both start with S. My brain's off today. So, like, you can see that the most he ever really has is, like, if they bother to give him hair, because this is the original design for the cartoon. But if he ever bothers to have hair, he always has this, like, top knot thing going on. He doesn't have a... That's a really weird action figure. But, I mean, most of the time, he's just got the flat, bald rat head. Even in the, the live action, there's no, like, style to it, because he's a rat. He doesn't... What's he gonna do? Grow fur out and then pull it back in, and then that's gonna leave a bald spot next to it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's weird that he just has an afro for some reason. I mean, it's an amazing, like, afro thing, but okay, sure. Also, this is directed by Seth Rogen, I think, or is produced by him at least, and then the cast I looked at, like, the cast at the end of this trailer, it's like, where is it? Where's, like, all the people? No, show the end of the trailer. Yeah. But yeah, let's see. Like, it's some shit. Hold on. Here's the cast list. So let's go through here. So like even the cast list is weird, right? It's like Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Post Malone, Ice Cube, John Cena. I think Ice Cube and John Cena are being Bebop and Rocksteady. Jackie Chan is in this for some reason. I guess he's voicing Splinter. That would be the only way that he could. Either that or Shredder, which doesn't make sense in either way. Because, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, oh, he can't do it because he's not Japanese. But, it's kind of weird to get a Chinese, an old Chinese stunt guy when you could have got a Japanese voice actor to play those roles when they were, actually, like, Japanese characters, both of them. So, I don't know. It's one of those. I mean, I don't recognize half these names, so, I mean, yeah, that's kind of good. Then there's Giancarlo Esposito, which I guess he is playing Baxter Stockman. That's, if I heard right, but it just is what it is. So the reason I bring this up is, it's like, okay, yeah, as Joe reacts to, teaser trailers and stuff. So let's see. Here's the part that, like, got a little off the rails.
Fight. It looks like the music is going to be great.
Yeah, the baby turtles are adorable, by the way. There's, like, a shot of, like,
comedy
little
is
baby
funny.
turtles. I can actually go find, if I go look at my ShareX here. I took a picture of it because it's fucking great. It's a great frame. So, where's... I've been watching Sonic Boom and Andromeda, so here it is. So, the baby turtles are fucking amazing in this. Like, look at him. He looks great. So, this is like a flashback of them training. It'll probably be your standard fare of, like, it's kind of like the Superman and the Batman origins at this point. We literally don't need to see it. I don't know why they're showing it. Like, what is the point of like, they're gonna explain to April this? Really? Do we need the scene where they explain to April, like, oh, we got covered in ooze and then we turned into Ninja Turtles? Like, we were trained in the martial arts. Like, yes, we know. We have seen this 1,000 times. Honestly, if they really want to do, like, an amazing story, they should go with Last Ronin, which is where all the other turtles are dead, and it's, like, years later, and Raphael... Is it Raphael or is it Leo? No, I'm pretty sure it's Raphael that's still alive, right? Because there's a book about that of, like, yeah, The Last Ronin. So this is like a book where I believe it's Raph, right? Is it Raph or Leo who survives? I'm always confused on that. Like, is it Leo? It might be Leo. You would think that it would have been Raph, but I guess the idea is that Leo has sort of a fall from grace and becomes, like, more hardcore, and you could see his he uses various weapons rather than just his standard swords, because he's sort of filling in for his brothers. Is it? Or is it? See, here's Raph, right? So is it Raph or is it Leo? Or is it Raph wearing Leo's headband or something? That's the thing. Let's see. Who's the last Ronin? Wait, it's Mikey? I am so lost here. Is it? If it's Mikey, why was there a picture of a guy with a red eye? See, it's fucking confusing, isn't it? I would go make my bed and like pull my blanket over, but who cares? Doesn't matter. Yeah. So this is a pretty hardcore story. So if you wanted to tell this, it would actually, if I was in charge of it for doing like animated shit, I would go super hard on this and be like, whoa, what's with this? This guy and the turtles, whatever. And then you could have like some weird like Baxter Stockman or some scientist type character comes along and like invents a time machine or something. So you go from this brutal, edgy turtle to like, I'm peeking for some reason. Cool. Not sure why. But yeah, it's just, why am I peaking so high? Hold on. Let me check this piece of shit that wants to not be correct on the noise gate. Let me check the filters. Noise suppression gain. Might be that I'm adding a gain to this when I shouldn't be. So let's do maybe no gain, because I swear I remember having a gain on this. But let's just go no gain on that. That might be what's peaking it. Okay, it's a little better. Sorry about that. I was seeing it peak into the red, so I just wanted to address that. So yeah, so that's what I would do, and then have like a time travel story, because it's wacky. It's the Turtles. You can do what you want with it. So I would just be like, yeah, he can time travel, and maybe he goes back in time and tries to fix things, and then we can see the normal Turtles. Or he goes back in time, but something happens in the time vortex, and so his mind arrives there, but his body doesn't. So now Mikey is suddenly leapfrogged into this older personality rather than being the younger brother, or whoever it is, Mikey or Donnie or whichever turtle it was, because I didn't seem to get an answer on that. But yeah, that's what you could do with it. So this whole like younger turtle thing, I'm not really a fan of to begin with. But okay, fine. It's just it's a new generation. It's a new adaptation. They do this all the time. Like the Ninja Turtles, man, they have had more adaptations like than any other media I can think of. They've had like so many reboots, so many versions, and it's like, why can you guys not just like I don't necessarily want you to just continue one storyline, but shit, limit yourself to like one every like 5 years or something. You could write one thing for like 5 years and then do a new one with new animation and a new plot. Like, I like the one where they were in the future. They got like sent to the future, and it was like this cyberpunk version of it where it's like, super advanced technology and stuff. Like, cool. But okay.
That's April
Okay,
O'Neil,
it's April.
Right? It's gotta
I'm
be.
assuming that this is April.
Yeah.
They made her
Yellow
black. She's been
Yellow.
black before in previous iterations.
She has never been black in previous iteration. She's been black in one, which is not really canon. It's just sort of a thing they threw into the animation. So, let's see. So, which show was it? It was one of the more recent ones where they did it to her. Was it Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is that the newest one? Yeah, it's this one that they did it in. So we look at Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I need an image of this. I don't know why I clicked back over to all. Yeah, so this is the only one in which April O'Neil has ever been canonically black, and this is also one where she's black. She's wearing a skirt now, which is not really a thing she ever did before. It's the art style is entirely different, and I hear good things about the animation, but it's just like, okay, fine, but it's like April's sort of a side character in this, and it's more goofy, more Saturday morning not even Saturday morning cartoon feel. It's just more like modern cartoon feel, right? I don't know why she has a baseball bat in this. Why does she have a baseball bat in this image? You see this, right? Like, here's April. So clearly the proportions and shit are out of whack to fit the art style. So it's like, okay, yeah, they changed April for no reason. They didn't need to. But like they've made. I think they made the turtles like sort of younger in this. I mean, he's got a fucking selfie stick and shit. So it's like trying to appeal to the younger crowd. And then April got made younger to match, I guess, because April's supposed to be an adult woman, right? Like how? Hold on. How old is she supposed to be in this adaptation? Right? That's not a bad outfit. Okay, so she's 16 in this, which is weird because the whole point of her character in the previous iterations was that she was a a fully grown woman who was taking on a role of sort of the straight man, the normal 9 to 5er, whereas the turtles were like the more out there thing. So it created this contrast. And then Casey Jones was in it to be a contrast to the turtles in their vigilante pursuits, right? Trying to balance the audio here. I'll check it back after, and then I'll adjust as needed. But yeah, so that's the thing is like so this is the thing, like in the original, she's like a full-on woman with the titties and everything, so it is odd to change a character like that into something not that, right? Like that's where it starts getting weird. And it was equally weird in the Michael Bay films when they did it with Megan Fox. So Megan Fox played her at one point, which, okay, she was still same race. The hair matched, right? Because okay, she has had dark hair before, but they're in a modern setting, so she doesn't have the perm and or the usual styling, right? Like, okay, yeah, she got that darker brunette kind of hair. Okay, fine. But even then, it was she still felt out of place. Not anything against Megan Fox, but it's like, yeah. So then in 1990, Judith Hogue, right? So this is the one that everybody basically knows. I knew from my childhood. This is my thought of April O'Neil is, I mean, outside of the cartoon, right? Then we have the live action. And then 91 and 93, did they actually? Yeah, they swapped the actress, but I didn't even notice, to be honest with you. To be completely honest, like it's one of those things of like, oh yeah, she just kind of fit in the same sort of mold. So this is the thing. This is the thing that is like that is already just like a thing of like she's been black before in previous iterations. No, she is not. She's never been that. She has been black in one previous iteration where she was also turned into a 16-year-old girl with glasses. What are we seeing here? I would assume some sort of teenager from the way she's dressed, but I can't tell because the artists decided to like. I don't understand why they're doing this to her. Like, I really don't get it. Like, and it's not just her. It's like there's humans in this as well. Later in the trailer, there's like, or earlier in the trailer, there's like a couple of like human dudes in like a bar or something. It's just a very quick shot. Here we go. So if you look at these guys, they look all fucked up too. Like, look at the way their face. Like, look at this guy's head. It's all misproportioned. Like, why do they look like this? I don't even understand. What is the point of making her like this? Because she's not. Her face is not misproportioned like the other guys were, but her body is completely misproportioned. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, she is shaped like a fucking potato. And, like, just a walking spud. Like, that's the weird thing, is you just look at her. Like, I have a friend. I have a friend who was born premature, and so he has sort of a similar stature of, like, a square, kind of stocky body. He's not malformed at all. It's just that he's got an effect on his eyes, his knees, and it had an effect on his hands as well. So where you'll see, like, on my arm, it's like it's got this gentle taper in, and I've been going to the gym, so this part's a little more worked out lately. But on a normal arm, you'd see like a slight taper to the wrist, and then like a normal sized hand. My buddy, his hands are like slightly smaller than mine. So what happens is when you get like it's normal all the way up here, and then when you get to here, it just goes like it goes like all the way down. Tiny wrist, tiny hands. Not like malformed tiny, but like smaller than usual. So that's the weird thing here is like she's not even tapered at her wrists and ankles, right? And so this is the thing people were getting upset about was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this yet another character who is part of the ginger side, right? Where it's like we're taking every time you've seen a race swap, think of every single time you have seen a character get race swapped in recent years. And now ask how many of those times it has been a white redheaded woman that is the character that gets race swapped, or even a redheaded man, right? A ginger, right? How many times does that happen? Ask yourself that, and you're going to find that at least 80% of the time when they're swapping a character's race, it's done to a redhead. And I don't know why. I don't know what this deal is with them. Like, we will change the genders into black people. Why? Are you just, like, I guess they're trying to just flip the visual to the other end of the spectrum where it's like, these people cannot go out in the sun. These people are designed to go out in the sun. Like, it's so weird. Okay. But anyway, like, I don't care that like, okay, yeah, she got black. She's never been black. That's demonstrably, proven as the only time she ever was black in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they only did that to tokenize the character and to make it modern, right? We know this. This is how they always do it. But fine, I could deal if it was just like, if she was a confident, normally proportioned human being that was in here. If you basically wanted to take Megan Fox's character from the Michael Bay movies and put her in here and then race swap her. Like, okay, she's an up-and-coming journalist. Maybe she's in college and she's got, she's not busting out of her. Maybe she's got a nice body. And, how the fuck is she going to keep up with the turtles? This is the thing that I don't get. Like, in a stylized cartoon like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even then she's like a normal, thinner. Like, she's just kind of a smaller to contrast with their design shapes, right? It's what it is. But she's got the baseball bat, we saw from the image. She's clearly athletic in some sort of way, right? So that's the weird part is, April is supposed to be a normal to like, she falls somewhere between normal to athletic, right? Somewhere, like when I say athletic, like somebody that just, does a decent amount of cardio or something, right? Like, and she didn't do much in live action movies a lot of the times, but there have been other times where she's been sort of a badass and she's gone out with the turtles and, hang out and she would kick people in the face and stuff. How the fuck is this woman here supposed to do that? How is this character supposed to keep up with this? Look at the turtles. They are lean, they are toned, they have musculature. Like, look at Raph's shoulder right here. Like, prime example. Look at his shoulder. Like, he is built. They train every day of their lives to be ninjas. They've been doing that for, I'm going to guess, 13 years because they look young as hell in this iteration. They look far too young. I like it when the turtles are like, it's kind of like with Spider-Man, where I don't like baby Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man about to go to college or Spider-Man after college, because that's where it gets really interesting, is the adult world for Spider-Man. So same thing here. It's like, the Turtles, they're interesting because they're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But they gotta be like 15, 16. You can't be knocking them down to like 13 or 14. It makes it weird. It makes it real weird. Also, I'm not in love with Donnie's headphones around the neck and also glasses. Like, where did he get glasses? Did he build glasses for himself? Did he study optometry? Like, these are the things I don't understand. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense in this design. Like, okay, fine. They race swapped her. Fine. So Ariel from the new Little Mermaid, which I'm waiting to see more of the writing is being race swapped. Yep, I'm fully aware of that, Rival. Welcome to the chat. But yeah, I mean, even in there, it's not that the character is bad. Like, you have shows that I enjoy, right? Luke Cage, Black Lightning, Static Shock. That's an older one. But I mean, more recent projects, Magnificent Seven, Denzel Washington playing that character in Magnificent Seven. I loved him. Why? Oh, he was a black cowboy. No, I liked him because he was a cool cowboy. I didn't give a shit that he was black. Like, you can absolutely make good modern black character. Day Shift. Day Shift is a prime example. Jamie Foxx in Day Shift is amazing. Like, I loved that movie, right? Will Smith in Bright. Love that too. Let's see. Off the top of my head, there's something else rattling around in here. Michael B. Jordan. It's another one that I absolutely like. Michael B. Jordan was great as, the antagonist in Black Panther. They killed him immediately, which was just such a mistake. I really liked him as a villain. Some Rival says maybe somebody flushed a pair of glasses down a toilet. Hopefully it was the right prescription, because if it isn't, then his eyesight's going to suffer. Exactly! Like, is he constantly checking his eyes to see if it works? Don't let it be like he wears them just to look smarter, like it's some hipster shit. Like, I swear to God. But yeah, so this is the thing, is like Joe's talking about this, and this is where it gets to, right? This is the problem I have with it. I don't have a problem with the character. I have a problem with Joe's reception of the character. That's where the issue
Comedy
lies.
is funny.
That's April
Okay,
O'Neil,
that's April.
Right? It's gotta
I'm
be.
assuming that this is April.
Yeah.
They made
Yellow
her
jacket.
black. She's been
Yellow.
black before in previous iterations. It doesn't bother me, but I can already see a bunch of weirdos going, "You woke. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm so sick of that shit at this point. They're fucking green. They're fucking turtles. They're mutant ninjas."
I'll let him finish.
And there's, you remember when April could be fucking hot and skinny and big boobs, and now she's fat and ugly and black. It's like, why do we have to deal with this shit on the internet? Well, because it's
It's
the
there.
internet. So
So first off, what the fuck? Like the absolute straw man he's built here of like, and again, there are people who take it too far with these things. There are some people who don't like Luke Cage, that don't like any black characters, and are fully actually racists, right? However, most people just want the thing to be like the source material they know, because they like the thing because it was built in that certain particular way. If I go into McDonald's, okay, and I go there specifically for a Big Mac because of the way the sauce the sauce tastes, right? And I go in there and I get that. And if I eat that once a week for 5 years, I will be very used to the way that tastes, and I will know that I like that, and I go in there specifically for that. Okay? Then, if they say, hey, we've changed the sauce to, like, I don't know what kind of sauce it is. It's like some mayonnaise-based sauce, I assume. But we're changing it to, like, a barbecue base. It's going to be a barbecue Big Mac now. Like, okay? Can I still have a regular Big Mac? No, you must have the barbecue Big Mac. But I would not like the barbecue Big Mac. I would like the one that I came in here for the past 5 years for. Oh, what, are you saying the barbecue Big Mac isn't good enough for you? Do you have a problem with different sauces? Absurd analogy, I know, but it gets the point across, right? Of how stupid that sounds if you apply it to something else. So that's the issue here, is he's applying this, logic to like, oh, the internet's terrible, whatever. Like, yeah, true.
not that, and we don't even know if that's April, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, we know it's April. It's a character talking to the Ninja Turtles with a notepad in her hand, and she has a yellow jacket. It's fucking April O'Neil. There is no other way that this could be any other character. Like, there's no way.
It's gonna be April. Look, I don't give a fuck what color her skin is. I'm just
Okay, see, this is the problem. I don't care what color it is. Then why are you getting upset with people who do have an issue with it? Because that doesn't make any sense. If you're saying it doesn't matter, then you're admitting that it shouldn't have been changed in the first place, because it adds nothing to the character. There is no, additional reasoning for it. So an example of, having a character race swapped that had no impact on the story, or at least to my understanding, I did not actually watch it, but from my understanding of it, House of the Dragon did something where they changed one of the houses, right? Where I was thinking it was like House Tigerian or some shit. I don't know, Tiberian or some. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't give a shit. I was going to at one point, and then everybody overhyped it, and then it had those last like 2 shitty seasons, and I'm like, I'm not gonna invest my time in this. But yeah, so apparently what happened to House of Dragons, and I saw this making the rounds, was, they race swap characters, and people were at first concerned, like, oh, that doesn't bode well, because apparently there's some thing with fraternity and people looking like each other and whatever, and that's like adds to the narrative. So if you change the race of the person, that could impact the narrative. Apparently it didn't. It was actually very well received, and people would overlook that fact to be like, yeah, it's different, but it doesn't actually harm the narrative. Whereas every time you see some shit like this, it's harming the narrative. Every fucking time, right? Because it's a red flag, man. It's a red flag. Ravel says, would it be fair to say the TMNT franchise perhaps the most tossed around, maybe not abused and misused franchise to ever exist? Oh, absolutely. It is a franchise which it's like I like this bit. There's a bit in Night in the Woods where one of the characters is like the main character May, as the player character, you can talk to this one guy that's like out of work. He's like unemployed, and you're asking him about what it's like to be unemployed. And there was one line in it where he's like, I have a zombie resume. You know what that is? And it's dead, but somehow it's still going all over the place. So basically the same thing with TMNT. Like I said, it peaked. I mean, shit. When was like the last? Let's see. When would I say the Turtles really peaked? I mean, let's see. Chronological, in order. Thank you, Screener, for the list. Let's see. So you had 87 and 96. You had the original animation, which was good, well received. People liked it. As with anything, it was used to sell toys, but hey, it's fun. People like it. So the live action, which was gangbusters, it made so much money. So then obviously they do Secret of Ooze, which is regarded as one of those like sequels that's actually better than the original because it's just even funnier. It's even better. They've ironed out all the kinks. Then you get the third one, which is not as good, mainly because they were using the Next Mutation look for the animatronics, which just did not fit. So yeah, then there's this shit. Where is it? Mutant Turtles, Superman Legend. I don't know what kind of crossover bullshit that is. Not talking about it. Next Mutation regarded as the worst adaptation ever. Like, look at them. They're so bad. And they added, and they got the same backlash back in the day with like adding a character to be like, hey, here's a fifth Ninja Turtle and she's a girl. Like, why? There was no point. So then we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003, 2009. Was this the one from is this the future one? Because the art style looks very similar to the future one I was mentioning earlier. Then you had the 2007 movie. I actually quite liked the style of this. I thought it was pretty gritty and cool looking. And Wrath has like a motorcycle and a big set of armor, and he ends up like it's sort of a Red X Teen Titan situation where they don't know who he is and they end up fighting him. It's like, oh shit, Raphael and Leo end up fighting on a roof and shit like that. It's cool. Then there's Turtles Forever, so they had like a crossover event. Then you have this, which I don't know how to feel about the art style here. Like, again, I heard this one was very funny as well, but I didn't keep up with the Turtles at that era. Let's see. So I haven't kept up with the Turtles too much. I actually watched the Michael Bay ones. When I watched the Michael Bay ones, I was expecting them to be garbage, like utter garbage. And yet they weren't. Like, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. I mean, aside from the overly muscular, hyper realistic looking turtles, but the way they comp them in and like Michael Bay's just great at action anyway. So it's like, oh wow, this has a lot of the stuff I like. I like Michael Bay movies for the action. He does a lot of action in the Ninja Turtles, and the Ninja Turtles are funny, And it's like, cool. The only real downside to this movie was the plot was a little weak. And Megan Fox as April O'Neil could have been a little better. But then they actually kind of improved that in no, not that. Half Shell Hero. No, get that baby shit out of here. What's up with the babyfication of stuff? They did the same thing to Teen Titans. They did Teen Titans Go around the same time as well. It's like, what was that the idea? I don't know. And then Out of the Shadows had Krang. What was his name? Krang. Is it Krang or Clang or it's Krang, right? Yeah, it's Krang. So Krang was like this dude from the OG series. He's great as a character. He's a brain that exists inside of this big robot mech person guy. I don't even. It's just unhinged. I love it as a design. But it's just that kind of thing going on, and that's sort of the main villain in this. And then in Out of the Shadows, we got Bebop and Rocksteady, and they looked amazing. And they had like it was really good. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that one. It just has like a hey, it's a standalone kind of Michael Bay thing. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. Why are the turtles flying in this? Why do they have magical bullshit weapons? Okay, I've got to watch Rise at some point because again, I hear the animation's great, but I don't know about the story. So yeah, it's like Robert was saying though, it's not misused and abused, but it is certainly it gets around, man. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been around the block. It's kind of like Power Rangers. It's still fucking here for some reason, and it keeps changing with every iteration. But it keeps basically telling the same story. Power Rangers has like 30 different shows at this point. It's kind of insane. So again, like the issue is that people like the thing the way it was.
Interested is their character ugly and blood.
All right, let's wind it back here.
Previous iterations it doesn't bother me, but I can already
there was a point in here I wanted to touch on.
Are you walking? Shut the fuck up, man! I'm so sick of that shit at this point. They're fucking green. They're fucking turtles.
So this is the thing that I kind of sparked in my brain when I first watched this was like, Yeah, they're green. They're turtles. They're supposed to contrast with the environment and be funny. April O'Neil is a real human person. She is not supposed to be shaped like a fucking potato with toothpick limbs. That's exactly, if you took like a potato, you took like a spud, like an Idaho potato, and you took like some pipe cleaners and stuck them in there, something like that. Like that's what she's shaped like. She's like, she's not even like pear shaped. That's the weird thing. It's like it doesn't taper from her shoulders, down out to her hips. It doesn't taper from her hips down to her shoulder, or from her shoulders down to her hips into a thinner waist. She's just sort of fucking round. Like not even round, but like ovally. It's like they've somehow, you know what it is? It's like this. So like you see like a rectangle, right? So if you see like a rectangle, you see how it's shaped? So she's not blocky like a rectangle. She's like a rectangle with rounded edges. It's like this, but like shorter. Like if this thing was squashed in, like she's pill shaped, right? Like, so if you look at like a pill capsule, right? It's exactly what she's shaped like. She is like a pill capsule that somebody duct taped like some toothpicks to, right? She is shaped like just round. She is round, but also somehow thin round. It's weird. It's so weird. Rival says that this video of his come out before or after the Dead Space remake. It may have something to do with that in a way. See, this is out after that, and again, like I didn't watch it just because, like this is the thing is I have not been up on Joe's content for a while now, specifically for these kind of takes that are like I don't need to hear from Joe. I don't need to hear Joe shilling for things and like excusing things and acting like all the people on Twitter that I am avoiding by not being on Twitter, And that's kind of part of the problem with Joe is that like out of necessity, out of his job, he has to be terminally online, right? Because he's a content creator, he has to constantly be plugged in. So I think that's where his frustrations in this are coming from. It's not that he necessarily agrees or it's not that he necessarily disagrees with the nuanced take of, hey, maybe we shouldn't change characters. It's that we can look at one comment section for 5 minutes and see like a dozen comments. He is constantly checking this shit all the time, and he's on Twitter, and he's getting all these responses. So he's seeing thousands of people say the exact same thing over and over again in a much less tactful and a much less civilized way. And I can understand that frustration. It's one of the reasons I left Twitter, because social media is a goddamn plague. It really is. But yeah, that's the thing is, with like the Dead Space remake, they also did kind of the same thing in the Dead Space remake. They changed a couple of characters and they kind of made them ugly, for some reason. And on principle, I don't give a shit about the Dead Space remake just because they could have taken all of those awesome mechanics that people loved and like, oh, we're gonna remake it, but with better mechanics and change a couple levels and stuff. Why the fuck wouldn't you just take all that time you're gonna do in game dev and put it into a fourth game that has nothing to do with Isaac Clarke? You could have literally made it with a female protagonist in a fourth game with like a totally different scenario, or like even like the chick, make it about the chick that like escaped in Dead Space 3, like after they left and Isaac was like floating in space. Like you could have made it about her and her carrying on the mission, and maybe it's a couple years later and all that shit. Yeah. So the Rival says the reason I say that is because of the criticism around the Dead Space remake, especially on the political agenda angle. It may have worn Joe out, not an excuse, just a reason. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Rival, is it's possible that being involved with all these bullshit, and it's kind of unfair to creators like Joe, who they just want to review the game, but corporate is fucking forcing them into a corner here to where, like, they don't really have an option. They're just like, fuck, I have to say, the Twitter mob will incessantly harass me and make it impossible for me to do my usual posts if I don't say the thing. I don't toe their line, and on the inverse, if but this is the thing, is now he's learning on the inverse, if you go too hard into their shit and don't have your own opinion, you're just being okay with things and shilling things, then you just, then you look like a dumbass, and everybody else on the other side is going to be like, fuck you, Joe. And it's just, you get criticism from either side. And so the only way to really do it is just focus on the content and not any of the other shit, which, to Joe's credit, he tries to do, but at the same time, he'll pop up with some of these, like, I don't care what color.
Annoying? Is their character gonna be awesome?
Right. See, these are questions, Joe, that I would ask if this was 5 years ago. If this came out 5 years ago and we were having shit, we're in 2023. Hold on. 7 years ago, because I wanted to be around like hold on, around like 2016, 2015, whatever. Let's say 2015. So 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. If this was out 7 or 8 years ago, and this was the first time that they're changing the designs and they're adding this, and this would be before Rise, and they're just like, hey, we're gonna make April younger and black, and like give her glasses and stuff. Okay, they're changing it for this. I would have given it a shot, but Joe knows better than anybody. Sorry about that. Thought somebody was knocking on my door. But Joe knows better than anybody, doing all these reviews of films and shows and games. He should know better than to trust this. That's the thing, is he's been burned so many times, right? Like, look at Battlefield, right? Look at the heel turn he did with Battlefield, where the second Battlefield, which was his pride and joy, and he loved it, once that disintegrated into corporate nonsense and is now unplayable as a franchise, he immediately went from, fuck Call of Duty, I like Battlefield, to playing Modern Warfare 2, the remake bullshit, the Modern Warfare 2022. So I just like to call it Modern Warfare 22. Just makes it simpler. So Modern Warfare 22, when that came out, he was like, "Oh yeah, they made some innovation. They did this." I'm like, "How can you give it a positive score, Joe? It's doing all the things that you used to critique and you used to hate, and you're just letting it slide now. Because he doesn't have that alternative. He doesn't have a choice. He has to like it now, or else he doesn't have anything to play in the meantime. Plus Warzone and Warzone 2 being popular the way they are, which, by the way, has anyone heard about? I know I haven't heard shit about Call of Duty for at least 2 months now. I ain't heard nobody talk about it. I ain't seen no videos on it. Because that's the usual cycle with COD. No matter how good it is, people will drop it in 2 months and just be like, meh, we're back to, status quo. All right, give me 1 second. All right, we are back here. All right, so here we go.
How does she factor in? How does she meet the turtles? But it looks
Okay, but here's the thing. How does she factor in? How does she meet the turtles? We have seen this already, Joe. There is no plot line here where it's like, how does she meet the turtles? I don't know. Fucking, they break into her work. They save her from muggers. She's investigating, the ninja thing. Because that's what happens in the live action. She is investigating thefts, which leads to the Foot Clan attacking her, which leads to the turtles defending her, which leads to Raph losing his side, which leads to more questions from April because she's a fucking reporter, right? Like, we have seen so many ways of, like, how does she meet the turtles? It doesn't matter, Joe. We've already seen those ways. This narrative will not be any more interesting or worse. This is why it doesn't make any... Like, I could see this becoming, like, hey, here's, like, do we like the animation enough to then make it a cartoon? But I doubt, with this level of animation, with this level of detail and everything, this is, like, harder to do than regular bullshit animation on TV, because, like, there's a reason shows on TV don't look like this most of the time, right? There's a reason shows like Invincible take years to work on, right? There's a reason, you don't get a lot of, like, episodes for Cuphead in a season, right? Because it takes forever to animate this
it's
shit.
like a brand new generation of turtles. And honestly, I'm going to this. Like, I actually can't wait. This came out of nowhere
Right. So,
for me.
and that's fine. If Joe wants to go to it, he wants to see it, he's excited for it, that's entirely fine. You are allowed to like whatever you like. You are not allowed to, like, here's the thing. You are allowed to like what you like. You are allowed to voice your opinion on what you like. However, I draw the line at, the shit that you did on Twitter, which I'll get into now. So, I haven't been on fucking Twitter in a hot minute. I haven't been on Twitter so much that when I reinstalled all my shit on my computer, I didn't even bother like logging back into Twitter just because I forgot I even had it. So let's see. So if we go to, well, let's look for Eric July because he's the one that was talking about. So basically, the only reason I'm even talking about this is because Eric and Angry Joe were beefing, which is odd to me because I'm like, how the fuck would Eric and Angry Joe be beefing about shit? So this is the thing proving like what women in the 80s look like, and why she was always white and all this shit. Let's see. So fake fans on Twitter continue to double down. Yeah, I saw that. So where's this shit with him and Joe? Because he had like a thing where there's Joe. Joe called him out for it. So this is what Joe says, right? So so let's go back and start a little. Let's see. So here's Joe. Let's keep going back here because Joe's clearly he's spatting with people. He mad about shit. And that's the thing. So like this is the original post, right? So this is from Joe. So this is him kind of walking it back, which I don't understand. So racist. April O'Neil is white, not black. I'm tired of being replaced as bullshit. Woke. Right? And again, that's a factual statement, Joe. April O'Neil is white, not black, and it's not racist to say that, right? If I took, let's say, Power Man, right, from DC, and I turned him into a white guy, or Black Panther, and I turned him into a white guy, people would be understandably, justifiably, and verifiably pissed. They would lose their minds, and they have a right to lose their minds because you're taking a character and you're changing it, right? And you're changing not for narrative reasons, but for bullshit reasons that make no sense. Like, it's ridiculous. So we've got, and then we got not racist weirdos. I don't care if she's black. Why isn't this 12-year-old hot and sexy? So this is implying that people who don't like the design are either have to be a racist or a pedophile. Fucking weird. Like, this is a very weird take from Joe. So rest of us, who the fuck cares? Is it a good movie? See, Joe, a couple years ago, you would have been right on that. Again, as I said, 7 years ago, this would have been a question. We know it's not going to be a good movie. We know it's going to be shit from everything we've seen, right? We know for a fact it will not be good because they're promoting it intentionally on this. I mean, there was an image that Nickelodeon shared a while ago. Shit. I don't even know how to find this image. But there was an image where I saw it pop up randomly, and it was from Nickelodeon, and they had put together like a chronological frame of like a bunch of the turtle, like one turtle from every series and every movie, from 1987 onward, right? And then it got to Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this pattern was, I shit you not, 2 rows of turtle, all the way turtles for every single frame until it got to Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When they then broke the pattern just to show a frame of Black April O'Neil in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which made me question, then it doesn't even become a question. Then it just verifies, like, oh, you didn't change her to improve the character or add to her narrative or open up, creative avenues. You changed her for brownie points, and that's what you're looking for right now. You want the Twitter mob to love you, right? And this is the same shit that companies pull every year in June. Is it June or July? I'm pretty sure it's June. Is it June? I'm fairly certain it's June. It's one of the two. It's June or July. All I know is it's fucking hot outside. And I don't know how any of these people go outside for a parade when it's hot as shit. Yeah, June. So it's the same shit that corporate pulls every single year in June. Every single company, without fail. Out come the rainbow flags. Out come the we love the LGBT community and all this shit. And every year it lasts from June 1st to June 30th. And on July 1st, we're immediately into America, come buy 4th of July shit. Immediate. Just back to business as usual. So, yeah, this is the shit that people are calling out. I didn't label him a racist. You did though. Like you are making the general claim that anyone who does not support the that is not okay, but it does not support it is there. I don't know him. The premise you are going on is that I said Eric is racist, which never happened. This is like splitting hairs, which I'm like Joe of all people should not be splitting hairs like this. Like from what I know of the man, from the reviews I've seen of him years ago, it's like that Joe was a very different Joe. So let's see. Rival saying, brand new doesn't always mean better. Look at Saints Row, the reboot. Saying that though, brand new doesn't always mean bad either. An example being Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Yep, the Edgerunners anime shot up all the numbers for Cyberpunk. People gave a shit about Cyberpunk because the anime, and again, another design decision that didn't cater to the mobs of people online was a lot of weirdos were like, oh no, get rid of the or it wasn't even the mob online. It was like backroom boardroom bullshit where the creatives that made the show were like, hey, here's Rebecca. She's like a fucking like I don't even know how old she is or what the deal of the show is. I haven't watched it yet just because I've got a million things to watch. But she's like younger, petite, small body, whatever. And, okay, so corporate was like, hey, we got to get rid of that like underage character because, what the fuck. But then the creative team, like the animation studio that was being contracted out by CD Projekt Red, they basically looked at him and said, sit and fucking spin. And that's what led to it was, hey, here's this shit, like, here's this thing that we designed in a particular way because we wanted to design it with this creative idea in place. And they didn't let themselves get bullied by corporate. This is bullied by corporate. You can tell the entirety of this was, like, some of these designs were thought up, like, this idea of, like, well, what if we did, like, Into the Spider-Verse kind of style with the turtles, and maybe we knew a little younger and all this. You can feel the parts where the creatives are in control, and then you can immediately feel the part where corporate comes in, where the marketing team comes in. The second fat black April O'Neil comes in there, you just know that was a corporate decision. That had nothing to do with anything, Let's see. People like you are beyond fucked, argue in bad faith. Y'all just insert yourself into my timeline over me not caring. Okay, see, this is the thing. If you didn't care, why did you even mention it in the thing? Be like, because if you don't care, it's just like, here's how I could have phrased it. This is the thing, is, if I'm going to give all this criticism to Joe, I give him an out here. If it was me, and I wanted to avoid this bullshit, this drama on Twitter, I would simply say, April's black now. Okay, yeah, she's flat and black and whatever. Okay, I don't really care. I want to know if the story's good or whatever. That's all he needed to say. But he went out of his way to attack people, to be like not even like to the point of just he said it in his video. He then goes on Twitter and makes a post. He gathers 4 fucking images, uploads 4 images, types a paragraph of text. Like, this took time. It took motivation. Like, this there's a point to this action, He didn't just accidentally tweet this. That's the weirdest thing. Okay, so Rebel says, yeah, if they wanted to show the new design, why didn't they just do one for her separate from the turtle ones? Maybe if they did that, it wouldn't be so particularly ham-fisted. Yeah, exactly. And then the biggest sign of someone caring on the internet is saying you don't care. The true way you show that you don't care is not respond. Precisely. This is like with all the Marvel and superhero shit nowadays. It's like, I don't talk about it anymore. I don't even think about it. I look at, like Black Panther 2, garbage, Ant-Man Quantumania, garbage. But I don't talk about it. Why? Because, like, could I make videos on it? Yes. But I made my thing. I did my big, hey, what's wrong with the, what did they do to the MCU stream? I did that stream, and I stopped talking about it and stopped thinking about it. I moved on with my life. You know what I think about now? I think about what art I'm going to make today. I think about, how many more levels I need to do in Deep Rock to level up my engineer, right? That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about shit products from shit companies that I don't care about, It's just, it's stupid. And if I was still on Twitter, I guarantee I would be, right? Just because it's this goddamn cesspool of arguing nonsense. Point Blank made you don't know anything about Gabe, Gabe who now? Who Gabe? I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Like, again, I'm not getting into all that. I don't care. I'm just here to talk about this. I am not getting into all this, right? So, I mean, this is just, look at this just nonsense here. Like, ugh. But yeah, that's the problem. Is then then he's beefing with like Eric July and everybody else, and like the people that didn't like it, and unnecessary Twitter drama, basically. But this also plays to a larger point of, like Joe's content, and like you can see that the little like red watch bar. Like, I watched this one because it's the Ninja Turtles, right? And I wanted to see what Joe thought about Ninja Turtles. I watched State of Play to see what was happening with Suicide Squad, and and you can see I didn't even finish the video. I just skipped this part and checked out, what was going on with Suicide Squad, and it was like, oh, it's gonna be a grindy bullshit game with terrible mechanics. Yep, and I immediately clicked off the video. Like Mandalorian season 3, I'm not even invested in that, to be honest with you. Just after all the nonsense with Star Wars, like it just, especially how Boba Fett was handled. Like, let's see. So, like you can see, I don't watch a lot of these from Joe anymore. I really don't. I watched his Forspoken review just because I wanted to see the skits and watch him laugh at how bad the game was, right? But this was just one of those instances where, like Joe's not gonna stick up for the game because there's no point to it. I'm not watching this Quantum Mania reviews, not watching any of that crap. Don't care. I watch the news stuff. I basically just watch him for the news stuff now because half the stuff he reacts to, half the stuff he talks about, like, oh, here's Last of Us, and this again, that's another one from Joe where we go down here. I kind of just tuned in here to see what Joe would say about it, and whatever, and what kind of reviews. And I get reviews from other people now for movies and films, basically, just because I don't feel like Joe is being honest anymore. He's just kind of like doing whatever he's doing. And when I looked at this review and I kind of skipped around it and whatever, and I saw that Joe was like, oh, I don't care if you're gay or whatever. It's like, again, this is another point where Bill's entire narrative was changed, right? For no reason. It was an arbitrary change for the show, right? It just, it changes his character, who he is, what his mentality is, how he's represented. It changes all those things. And it's just like, you can't just hand wave it away and be like, it's fine if they change things. Like, it's not, though, if you're basing it on a regular product that has like shit about, I mean, I watched his, let's see, Warring with Dark Tide just to see what was happening with Dark Tide. Apparently the game's still not that great. Let's see, so Way of Water, I went and watched Way of Water. I don't need review or anything. But let's see, what else? Like, I watched this thing on Transformers. Why did I watch this thing on Transformers? Because I like Transformers and I like seeing what Angry Joe wants to say about Transformers because I know he likes Transformers. Same thing with the Mario movie. It's like, these are okay reviews. Like, the thing with Transformers is that in this reaction video, he actually points out the, like, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear about the humans, I just want to see the robots, like I don't care about the human stuff. Like, great. That's correct. We don't care about the humans. We just want our Transformers to fight. We want the robots to smash into each other and shoot each other in the face. That's the whole point of the show. So, same thing with the Ninja Turtles. I don't give a shit about April O'Neil. I don't. Nobody does. She's an ancillary character. She has never done anything significant in these storylines because the show is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is not called April O'Neil and the Turtles or April and the Ninja Turtles, okay? She is a side character. The main cast are the Turtles, okay, and Splinter. That's the main thing. And they go to war with Shredder and the Foot Clan. That's the whole thing. It's just crazy. But no, I mean, here's what Rival was saying about the Dead Space thing. Is like, I didn't even watch this. I usually watch all of his stuff for reviews and stuff. I just know that I didn't give a shit about Dead Space, so I didn't watch it. I don't care, I watched it for like 3 seconds to see if he was going to say anything interesting, but he starts off with, oh, the game is great. I'm like, bye. Like, what was, like, am I supposed to sit around and hear you just gag on the game's cock, when, like, Joe 7 years ago would have been tearing Dead Space Remake apart. He would have been like, this is stupid. Why the fuck are we doing this again? It's a reshelled, carbon copy of the last game, etc. I mean, he tore into Callisto Protocol with that review. He was very much like, yeah, no, there are parts of this game that suck. It's like, then why didn't you treat Dead Space the same way? It's from fucking EA. You hate EA, Joe. What is, it's baffling to me, his attitude to things lately. This is especially damning to me. The idea that like he's giving Picard a redemption arc, which is just so laughable to me. Like it's just crazy. Like especially with like CBS Takedown, right? Like CBS is still fucking with him over, the Picard season 3 premiere video that he made, right? Like he's still fighting that. He's still having problems with that, and yet he's giving breath to it. It's like, dude, the company's still fucking with you. But it's like, okay, we're going to judge it on its own merits. But the thing is, it's not on its own merits. It's nostalgia bait that goes nowhere because after this season, that's it. There's no more Picard show. So this last season is pointless because then we're just going to circle back around to doing Discovery and Strange World or Brave New World, whatever. Strange New Worlds. I think that's the one where it's like Kirk with Pike Pike with Spock on the Enterprise before Kirk. Actually, no, it's an alternate timeline. Yeah, I remember this. Somebody mentioned this to me, and it pissed me off to no end because I actually watched the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and I thought, oh, this is kind of neat, right? To see Pike and Spock before Kirk shows up, right? Like, what were they like before the menagerie and all this shit that happens to Pike later? No, it's an alternate fucking timeline where Kirk never assumes control of the Enterprise because it's in the Star Trek Discovery timeline. So I completely have to write it off because I literally yesterday went shopping and I found at Goodwill the entire box set of The Next Generation and immediately bought it. Box set DVD collection in a nice little box, the entire show. And I immediately bought it. That's how much I love Star Trek. And even I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to. Why should I give Picard a chance? It fucked me over. It's like if they ever make any more Terminator films, I'm not going to watch them just because the last one was so shit. Like, if a product burns you, burn it back. Don't give them a second chance. Here's the thing: is a lot of people are like, "Oh, redemption arc, this or that." We will see. We will have to wait and see. We cannot give credit where credit is due when the work isn't finished yet. Just because they make one okay or one not outright offensively terrible season of a show, that does not mean the company's back on track and they're going to make good content from now on. That just means they happen to get their head out of their ass for 2 seconds, right? I mean, let's take a look at Hogwarts. I think I want to end the stream with that, talking about like this, because I don't give a shit about Hogwarts Legacy, right? I could care less about Harry Potter games. And the only thing I've ever heard about it is how, like, everybody was just talking about J.K. Rowling. Not even talking about the game. We're talking about Rowling and her bullshit. And so I want to see if Joe's at least going to stick to his guns about these sort of issues of, well, I don't care. It's like, is he going to mention the fact that, like, the money goes to support him? And again, I don't care because, it doesn't really. But I just, we'll see. This is one of his most recent videos. I want to know what his deal is. Like, this is actually literally yesterday. So it's one of the most recent videos. So what's his take on it?
Hogwarts Legacy, it's done. I hope you guys enjoy.
Let's gotta
this
speed
one,
this
this game is
along
longer
here.
than I thought, but I've got it all done now, so hopefully you guys like it. If you want to support us directly, if you like seeing these videos, we got a brand new shirt in the store, all 3 of us, the whole crew, at Rogues Apparel. Click the links below. And, of course, thank you to our sponsors at G Fuel. Check it out.
See, that's one thing I really hate. Like, secure the bag, yes, do whatever sponsorships you want, but I can never get behind, like, the whole G Fuel thing anymore. I tried G Fuel once in my life, and it was good, but it was just good because I like fruit punch anyway, and so I had a fruit punch flavor, and so I was yeah, this is pretty good. And, it was a nice little drink, but then I would get, like, stutters and shakes and whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no. It's because it raises your heart rate and shit.
Guys,
like all these little
got our flavor right here.
supplements
I've
do.
been testing it. It is delicious.
So he's getting a
so
sponsor.
yes,
Okay, cool.
stay tuned. I don't have
Joe, shut up. I don't care about your
credit
merch.
to us,
Please
and
move
I know
on.
that you purchased it with us at 20% off, guys, for
Yeah.
G Fuel to help you get through some gaming sessions.
And again, he
And
can do
I'm
what he
just
wants with
so
the
happy and
merchandising. I just don't
excited.
care.
So it's
Like, I
time
really
for
don't.
the review.
I want to get to the actual video.
It's like a divination class. Isn't the professor such a ballbuster?
Oh, I know, right? I hardly have time for myself anymore. Free time to do things. God.
Oh, for the love of God, help me. He's been torturing me for hours.
Shut up!
For me, that function panel is gonna be the worst one for me.
Oh gosh, what is Professor Sharp's obsession with tests?
Everything
Test
hurts.
this, test that. It's annoying.
Yeah, well, Well, I gotta get to the dining, but I'll see you in the dining hall later tonight, right?
Oh yeah, for sure,
Have a nice
for
day.
sure. Okay. God damn it, Joe! Would you embarrass me in front of my friends? You know what? Incendio! And you know what? How about a little erectile momentum? Let's see how your pain threshold handles that, huh? Slow burn, Joe.
Why isn't anyone helping me?
Oh, hi, Bobby. What's same old, same old. Yeah.
He's just out here casting multiple spells on him. You know? And that's a shame, because I like those kinds of skits and stuff that he does for reviews, but it's one of those things of like, damn, you know, I don't care about the game. Like, meh. You know, fucking meh. Big ol' meh energy from me. And I would even watch it, even if I don't give a shit about the game. But that's old Joe. This is new
Guys,
Joe.
quite simply, there has never been a better recreation of the Wizarding World or Harry Potter to date in video games
Let me break this
before
up a little.
Hogwarts Legacy.
There we go. We got an owl, we got a train, cool.
There she is. Beautiful.
That's new or old. Wait, no, because I remember this from the movie. This like shot of like the lake and the thing. Was that? Maybe that was like in the book and it's supposed to be there, but it wasn't in the movie, like in the shot in the movie. That's weird.
I didn't know there was something in the water. What is that? Is that a boathouse? It brings the movies to life and puts you as the central character in this open world RPG. What is that worth to you if it's done right? To me, it's worth a lot as a fan of the franchise. All right, time for the championship. Yeah, I got a bone to pick with you, OJ.
You're the crosswalk champion. Nothing can stop me, not even you.
Yeah, as if Hufflepuff Slytherin rules. All right, ready, set, duel. Holy shit, dude!
Hufflepuff my nut.
My nuts.
Where you going? I'm not done with you! Come back! You coward!
So bad. I love it.
Did I win?
Did I win?
It's absolutely amazing how detailed they made this. Like, it's good that I already want to do some exploring. And
Like, there's no mention of
every nook and cranny.
the
That, to
thing.
me, is a good start.
Like,
You're gonna spend 45
is there
hours.
ever going to be a mention of J.K. Rowling or the drama around it at all? No, because he's just talking about the product. See, the problem here is in TMNT, he wanted to talk about the product, but then was also talking about the meta like shit that was outside of the control of the product and was going to be Twitter drama. So why is it not being mentioned here? Like, he needs consistency at least. Is there any mention of Rowling in this at all? Because it's on principle, he needs to, like, you either talk about it, you either talk about the drama outside of the game or the drama surrounding the product, or you don't. Me, a lot of the time, I don't. I just play a
It's
fucking game
unbelievable
and
that all
chill.
the grocery prices are so.
I like chopping at Aldi, but please shut up. I got a video going to do. Fucking stupid 6-second ads, and then these are dumbass ads of like, oh, you're not fat, it's the shirt. It's like, dude, no, this dude fat. Look at him. Like, you can literally see the jaws in his like neck and everything. Yeah, like this is one of the dumbest ads I've ever seen. By the way, I've never watched it all the way through. I always skip it. So I'm just sitting here like, what is this? Yeah, exactly. Like this idea of like, oh, men only care about one thing, buy our shirt because our shirt will make you prettier or something. It's like, trust me, as somebody who has bought shirts that are form fitting or like, you know, like show off your physique, they don't do shit. It's just a shirt. Okay. So is he ever gonna like get to the point here?
Literal fire.
First try.
Swinging. They certainly have come a long way. I remember when they were doing field tests at malls. I heard this news story, and they let people play, and they would give them their feedback on the game. Well,
Yeah, actually.
Hogwarts Legacy is a 10 out of 10. That's right.
So Joe gives this a 10 out of 10. I just want to show you guys like the other end of the spectrum real quick. So like I just watched this one as well. So these came out at exactly the same day. These both came out like yesterday. So in 6 minutes, 0 punctuation, basically says, yeah, the game's just like formulaic copy paste bullshit, but also Joe's like, yeah, 10 out of 10. When, you know, I thought Joe didn't like open world shit where you just do a whole bunch of the same activity over and over. Like, again, these are the things that are weird to me. Like how he's rating things
Villains,
lately.
Ravenclaw for nerds, and Hufflepuff for the kind of people who tick the little box that says, yes, I would like to receive emails about future promotions. But honestly, the game gets and considerably more occasional combat encounters with one of the game's 3 or 4 enemy factions, copy-pasted so many times you'd assume Hogwarts was being besieged by the Mongol hordes.
Fucking, I don't always agree with Zero Punctuation, but most of the time he's spot on. But yeah, so that's for Hogwarts Legacy. And again, we saw no mention of J.K. Rowling or any of the other bullshit. Like, it's happening. Like, that's the thing, is he spends a minute in the beginning to show, like, that. Is there any mention in the description? Nope. Not one mention of that. But he felt the need to mention it in the Ninja Turtles reaction, right? Like, what is going on, you know? It's so weird. And of course, look what happens. When you don't talk about the drama bullshit, look at your comment section. Nobody else talks about it either. It's almost like if you don't start nothing, it won't be nothing, Joe. You started shit with like with generalizing, you know, the reaction of people to this thing, and then you expected it not to be a certain way. It's like, dude, you're gonna get that. I mean, let's check the comments here. Especially for the younger fans, brigading the channel because of his recent attack response to Angry Joe video. I've posted this over there, and I'll post it here for you as well. Okay, so this is Joe's thinking that like people are doing it in the name of ripping to downvote him. Which, if you're that kind of person that's like, I'm going to downvote this thing or dislike it or report it, if you're like mass flag it or whatever. Like, if you're one of those people that's like, you know, the person I like is beefing with this person I don't like, or this person I like and this other person I like are beefing, but I like what person 1 is saying, so I'm going to report person 2, and you know, go fuck yourself. Like, you're just a dumbass, okay? Like, at that point. But that's the weird shit. I was wondering why my video suddenly got mass downvoted. I pulled that picture from Screen Rant, used it for the top tweet from Gabe's. I have no idea what he's even talking about. Your tweet's only on there because that guy retweeted your tweet. I didn't even know who you are. If you come to see me in real life, you better come respect me because you popped off for no reason, a misunderstanding you for this or that and whatever. I wasn't talking to you in my tweet. You act like I was directly addressing you. Well, that's the thing, is like, just because you don't mention somebody doesn't mean they don't have a right to be pissed off. Because if you say that, like, everybody that eats, you know, chocolate cake, right? Everybody that eats chocolate cake is an asshole. If you say that, then the people who are not assholes that like to eat chocolate cake, because some, like, when you say that, it's like, yeah, some of them will be, but the other ones that aren't, how are they supposed to take that? Like, you're just stereotyping them. So the idea is like, oh yeah, I didn't explicitly say your name. It's like, just because you didn't say it, Joe, doesn't mean that you didn't, you know, end up generating some sort of drama from it when you didn't need to say it to begin with. You could have just left it. You didn't need to. That's the thing with Twitter, is like, especially on Twitter, right? I don't know about other social media shit because I don't even use it, but I know from first-hand experience, especially on Twitter, if you just stop talking to that person fades into obscurity in 2 days. Like, you might think about it for the rest of the day. You might think about it the next day as like oh yeah, that happened yesterday. A week from the event, when you have stopped, you know, like, engaging with this, you will forget it even happened. You know? And you will vaguely recall it. It'll just go to the long-term memory, and you might think about it here or there, possibly. But only when your life has, like, a thought relative to it in your brain. It's like, oh yeah, this is kind of like that one thing. Oh yeah, remember that one thing? Yeah. Like, that's the thing. It's just like, you fade the fire of Twitter when you're on Twitter. Whether you are participating or not, you are always feeding the fire because you're participating in the site itself. You are liking, you are retweeting, you are connecting, and in doing all these connections, at some point, there's going to be friction, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be a problem that arises from that. Slow down, take a deep breath, realize the only reason you were on that picture was because some dude retweeted you with his own stupid take of April O'Neil is white only. See, this is the problem, Joe, is that April O'Neil is white only. Technically, there has been one canonical version of a reboot featuring April O'Neil who was changed to a black character, which was only done to tokenize her. So it's not like that was literally not the artist's intention ever. So it's not actually canon, right? So when you think about it, you know, like, because at the end of the day, it comes down to artist intention versus what was delivered. So, for instance, right? So Kill Bill, you have Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2, right? So Tarantino intended for them to be played together as like, you know, a long ass movie, right? And he even planned for there to be like an intermission in between. So you'd have like a double feature basically, but it was all one film, right? One ongoing narrative. Well, the thing with that is that movie studios didn't want to do that, right? That's not how they did it. So they were like, look, give us number 1 and then we'll release number 2 later, right? It's like, okay, cool, release a separate date. So no matter what Tarantino's intention was, it's what the result, that opening volley, you know, that first barrage of in the theaters of like, here is 1, there is 2. They are now stated as 2 separate parts to the same media. You know, they're not viewed in the original context he wanted them to be viewed in, which is as a double feature with an intermission in between in a property theater setting. So it doesn't, that's what it is. First impressions matter. So the initial concept, this has been stated by the actual creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Laird and Eastman, right? There's 2 of them. I remember their last names are Laird and Eastman, but yeah. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird. They have both touched on this subject before, and both of them verify that what happened was they always wrote her, drew her, and designed her from the get-go as a white woman. It was always that way, and it cannot be changed later. You cannot retroactively change it and say like, oh yeah, now it's different. Because if you change that, then the question becomes, why are you not changing all the other things about the Turtles? And there is a translation from page to screen where we've never really had the sort of brutal, gnarly early comics that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had, right? There was some bloodshed and stuff, and we've never really seen that with the Turtles. Not to the problem of it, it's just how things get adapted. But that's the thing, is like saying, oh, it's a stupid take. It's not a take, it's an objective fact, Joe, which you cannot change by beefing with people, all right? April O'Neil is only white. That is a fact. The sky is blue. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Okay? Oh, excuse me. Oh, my nose today. I don't know what it is. Okay. But that's what it is. Seeing Joe's fans call him being corporate shill is probably the best thing I've seen all day. I mean, he is. Like, when you think about it, he is corporate shilling right now. Like, it's fine that they're changing. Like, Joe agreeing with a corporate decision or Joe overlooking a corporate decision is like, what the fuck? Because anybody that knows Joe's content will tell you that he literally invented an entire character that was a parody of Cobra Commander called Corporate Commander that he would routinely beat up as a personification in his reviews. It was the personification played by Joe himself. It was the personification of stupid corporate money-grubbing nonsense in every bad decision in gaming, right? That was the Corporate Commander. Like, that's what he used to do. And, like, he retired the character because at one point, I think EA was taking shots at him because they thought, it was either EA or Activision, I'm not sure which one. One of the bigger companies got mad because they thought that it was like a direct threat or something. They were just mad that Joe was calling him out with his reviews, and they couldn't do anything about it, so they were like, oh, this is, we believe this is threatening us in some way. Like, fuck you. Fucking sit and spin. I mean, 354 replies. Like, yeek. Big yeek energy. Now, I will say, like, Rippa, I don't know, what is this thing with Rippa, like, hold on. Because young Rippa, Eric July, I just call him Eric July. I don't know why. It's like fake outrage and insults over a cartoon character race. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. Let's see. There's like an image here where at one point I think Ripa left a comment or something. Like, there was a thing he said. No, not that. No, not that. These are, like, not even related to what I'm looking for. What the fuck? Yeah, this is, like, the apology, whatever the fuck, right? There's, like, a thing about, like... Da-da-da-da. Where's the thing that Eric July said? Because there's a thing. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? See, July went to YouTube to offer his response to Vargas as well after reading Vargas's tweet. July came to the conclusion, so he's either likening me to a racist or likening me to a pedophile, okay? He does that by showing me actually right here saying something about this whole situation. Now, it is possible that they're both getting their ass up over their heads and, you know, not, like, thinking, and it is a misunderstanding. That shit happens all the time. Shit gets lost in communication all the time. So it's possible that they both went, like, you know, they cranked it up to 11 when they really didn't need to. Like, they both just jumped in, like, what the fuck? You know, without really thinking about the situation first. And that's entirely possible. But at the same time, it's like, come on, Joe. Like you started this shit. Why? What was the point? That makes him a punk bitch. I mean, there's no reason to be calling him that shit, you know? Like, there's no reason to insult people like that. Again, I've said that multiple times on the channel. Even if you disagree with somebody, like, call him, like, oh, he's a punk bitch. Like, okay, yeah, you know, whatever. That doesn't really help the conversation in any way. You know, not that being called a racist or a pedophile does either, you know? It's like baseless accusations of somebody's character. It's just like, you know, it's not something I'm going to play around with, like me a pedophile, like me being racist, considering that I am a black man. I don't like you know, black people can be racist too. It's possible. There are plenty of self-loathing people. There are Jews that are anti-Semites, which is wacky to me. But it is something that human beings do. Is they can be self-hating. So it's one of the two or both. I'm either a racist, as he's showing the example, or I'm not a racist weirdo that is like being a pedophile. Okay. So it says, hey Reaper, I started school earlier this week and I'm about to start a 6-month journey to become certified in HVAC. Hell yeah, dude. Good on you, Sap. They want to indicate plan to confront Vargas in person if they happen to be at the same event together. Okay, so this is where I kind of draw the line of, like, you're taking internet beef and you're going beyond with it, Eric. Like, so, was Joe's take wrong? Yeah, obviously. But you don't say, like, oh, I'm going to come find you. Like, that's not something to you know, lose shit over. You know, it's the principle thing I understand, but it's like, you know, like, you could have just said, like, hey, if we're ever, you know, around the same area, I'd like to sit down and have a coffee with you or a beer or something. Let's just talk this out. Let's figure it out. There's ways to phrase it that don't come off as, like, this, you know, insane, right? I'm coming to see you for this fucking statement because that's not anything I'm playing around at all with, likening me or something like that. It's like, I'm coming to see you. Like, okay, it's a little aggressive there, Eric. I get why, but take it down a notch. Take it down a notch. Later in the video, July said, the issue that I take with all these weirdos is they have no problem defaming you or liable to slanderous claims. They have no issues doing that with people they perceive as their ideological enemies. Everything's on the table as long as they paint you as a bad person and etc. Yeah, so it's all the usual shit here. Okay, he concluded the video clarifying his comments on how he would convert Vargas. In the event that we are at a con, I'm going to see him. We're going to address it. Okay, fair clarification. That does not mean I'm going to punch him in his fucking face. That's not what we're talking about. I'm saying that I'm not one of those shy away from confrontation. I go to Anime Matsuri or something, and I know that someone has been saying these very foul and evil things about myself is there, and I'm going to pretend like they're not there. No. I'm going straight to your booth, and we're going to hash this out, and we're actually going to discuss it in person. See, this is the thing. It's like that's, like, okay, let's, you know, and again, there's still an even better way of phrasing this. Like, there's, to where it doesn't come off as so aggressive. You know, and it's not that, like, oh, you need to work on your tone or whatever. Like, I don't want to tone police anybody, but it's just like, there are ways to say, like, you can get the result you want and get your point across by phrasing something in a certain way, and it doesn't sound as harsh, you know, even if you don't mean it like that. Like, I've had issues with that in the past as well, where I'll say something and I don't even mean it like that, but I'll say it in text and it comes off as, like, a little more aggressive than I meant it to. So let's see. And best believe out of that conversation we'll come to a resolution. Okay, cool. In response to July's video, Vargas had the gall to ask for an apology, wrote on Twitter. Well, the gall, I don't think you as a, you know, as a commenter bounding into comics, whoever the fuck wrote this. Don't phrase it like that. Again, this is the phrasing. You know, there's no reason he had the gall to ask for an apology. It's like, yeah, they're having a conversation. They're both getting like heated over this. Like, it's, you know, they're gonna have an argument over this. I wrote on Twitter, I think you need to apologize for popping off and having your fans come at me. I wasn't talking to you. You were only shown because some moron had tweeted your tweet, whatever. None of what I said even applied to you, yada, yada, yada. Noting you had no intention of apologizing. I'm not apologizing to you. You put in the post, it's still up. You included me. If you're excluding me and didn't mean it, you got to detract the post or clarify, add to it, etc. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, if that's what Joe really means, then there you go. You also want to threaten me in person over this shit? You got some big head thinking I'm, yeah. So they're just beefing at this point. It's just it's a stupid Twitter spat over shit, you know. You know. Like, this is just stupid shit. Like, everyone's just going back and forth over this shit. It's just, it's, I don't know what the fuck this has to do with Jesus at all. I don't know what's going on with that. When did we mention Jesus and Catholicism in any way? What is happening here? What is going on? Why are we seeing... Wait, when did Jesus show up? Hold on, I got to the bottom of this article. Suddenly there's a picture of Jesus. Okay. So I guess whoever runs this page is religious in some way and is linking this back to his faith. I have no idea what that's about, but yeah, so, you know, is it not to both sides but what Joe said was fucked up, right? And the tweet and everything, it just incited this whole drama, and it doesn't make any sense, right? But on the other hand, Eric being like, "Oh, I'm gonna come find you," and this and that, it's like, take it down a notch, boys. All right, let's both take it down a little notch. Okay, just a little bit. Put it, you know, we're up at boiling. We want to take it back down to a light simmer. Okay, you know, it's okay to disagree with people and want to, you know, confront them in person and whatever about that. Like, okay, fine. You know, that's, you are two grown adults and you will hash it out however you're gonna hash it out and you'll figure it out. You know, whatever. What did I just get a notification for? It said I got a notification from Joe. Oh, angry impressions. Okay. Which is unavailable. What the fuck? I hate that when I get like a notification on something and it's like, oh yeah, it's unavailable. What do you mean it's unavailable? Like, you said it's live. Like, what? YouTube and their stupid shit. But yeah, like I think everybody involved, like, no matter if you agree with the design change or what, everybody just needs to take it down a fucking notch. You know, it's a race swap character and will probably be a mediocre film with shit jokes. All right, that's it. Like, that's all it is. You know, we all need to just take it down a notch and not like go at each other over this, because it's just Twitter drama. And this is the main thing, is it's just fucking drama between the two of you. Like, it's just oh,
Keeping a lookout.
did he wait, private, wait, what? Why did it say it was private and then show me the video? That's weird.
I think you're a Leo.
No, it's still here. That's weird. YouTube's being buggy for a second. I think it still had this in the buffer. Ah, here it is. Nope. Okay, so he privated that one. Oh, he might have it like, he might have meant to set it up for like a scheduled upload and then didn't hit the button. Possible. Good to see the new Velma got a job as April. So let's look through some of the comments here and see what people are saying, and then we'll wrap it up. Just because, you know, I gotta go to work later today and I want to get some stuff done before I do. And, you know, I don't really have anything to add to it. You know, it's just like, Joe has been kind of weird lately. This is kind of the same thing with like Jacksepticeye. Like, his content moved away from the stuff I wanted to watch, and so I stopped watching him. And then when I check back in with him, I hear about it because some guy's making accusations of racism towards YouTube's algorithm or something. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is the same thing. This is why I labeled the stream, you know, I am disappointed in Angry Joe. You know, like, I am disappointed. I am disappointed that we're to this point with all parties involved of like, Joe didn't need to start shit, but other people also don't need to continue shit. Just let it be, y'all. Like, relax, take it down a notch, take a chill pill. So let's keep going here. Let's see. See if anyone actually makes a decent point in this, or it's just people getting their ass up over their heads up again. Let's see. Joe, please don't miss the forest from the trees this time. The same thing happened with She-Hulk. You know what? That's actually, I didn't even think of that. Thank you to Ivan Drago. You know, it's funny because Ivan Drago, I was just watching Critical Drinker's video on Creed 3 where he mentions Ivan Drago. Like, of all the names. It's like, I don't know. Okay, anyway. But yeah, that's something, it's the same thing happened with She-Hulk where like people were, you know, upset with the way She-Hulk was written, and that's one of the things that caused me to stop watching Joe for a while was he didn't treat She-Hulk the way it should have been treated. That it was bad writing, it was stupid, whatever. And Alex did. And this is the weird thing, is that Alex has become more like old Joe, right? He's kind of held on to that. Whereas Joe, I don't know if maybe it's that, like, Joe is just getting tired of it, so he's just kind of, like, letting things slide for his own personal reasons. I mentioned this in the beginning of the stream, where it's, like, it's possible that he's just, like, I'm going to go a little laissez-faire, I'm going to be less angry about things and less invested. Like, okay, fair, you know, that's fine for him to do. But it's just, I haven't noticed that, you know, especially in, like, the movie reviews and stuff, Alex is much more scathing, right? Which, he's half the reason I even watch the reviews now, is Alex is much more scathing in his critiques of things than Joe is, because he has zero tolerance for bullshit. Like, he will call it out immediately. Yeah, it's just your audience flacking back, not an army of trolls. Yeah, it's true. It's like, I'm a fan of Joe. I like Joe. I don't think I even follow Eric July. I don't even keep up with, like, ISOM and all that. You know, I've mentioned it once. I think I did a stream on it talking about comics, but that's about it. Like, I'm not even, you know, invested in that whole right-wing comics world, whatever the fuck they got going on over there. Now to say it's a problem, it's just like, that's a certain energy and a certain person I don't want to associate with, you know, simple as. Channel, yes, they're here, but this is your audience. In She-Hulk, you lumped your audience's legit critique with the bigots trolling. Yeah, it's the same issue, right? This is the same issue he did in She-Hulk. This guy's exactly right. Like, this is exactly what happened with She-Hulk. I know because I watched the videos. Every time there was, like, a criticism of She-Hulk, Joe was like, oh yeah, but people say because this. It's like, no, Joe. Like, there are two separate paths here of, like, it is possible for the show to just be garbage and the character to be bad on the premise that it should not have been the way it was written. It should have been written the way it was written. But then there's also the other side of things of, like, oh, all women-led things are terrible and whatever. Like, okay, yeah, it's taking it too far. Y'all are idiots. But, you know, that's the thing. It's like, making generalizations is never a good idea because, you know, when it's such a general and broad topic, you're going to inevitably insult people who you know, from what I understand, he did not intend to insult certain people that way. So, here we go. Been a bit rough go since She-Hulk and into Last of Us. Maybe be a little more deliberate when tossing that bigot word around. Yeah, exactly. I don't know about any of that, but Man United lost to Liverpool 7-0. What does this have to do with anything? Talking about fucking English football. Talking about soccer. What the fuck? Or rugby. I don't know. Because over in England, they have rugby and they have soccer. So I don't know. Somebody just doing a womp womp here. Why? What is this? What is this fucking thread? What are these replies? I'm a fan of both of you. I'm just saying when he says face his detractors, he means respectfully. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Been over that. It's your own fans. We're watching you go downhill. Yeah. After reading a lot of comments here, most of us don't even watch Rip, but personally, I'm a fan of yours long before I even know Rip. Exactly, same thing. Yeah. Keyword: I was a fan before you started doing what everyone does when their ritually racial pandering doesn't work. You called your own fans and fellow comic book lovers racist, sexist bigots when we used to be all in agreement that source material is what matters. Yeah. Your channel stopped growing the minute you alienated half your audience over the fear of being canceled. We missed the old Joe, the Joe that spoke his mind and go fuck who offended. Yeah, that's the other thing I don't understand. Is like, Joe is a very opinionated person. That's the whole point of Angry Joe, is that's why he was so entertaining back in the day, is he wouldn't give a shit. He would yell into the mic. He would call out corporate. He would do all this shit. So it's like, yeah, just give us the old Joe back. What is this new Joe, you know? And that's not to say people can't grow and change, right? People can absolutely change. But you should be changing for the better. You should not be letting others change you just because you want to suit their ideal of you. You know, you just want to, you know, like go in there. Let's see. Like this is just like insane thread. 300 some odd comments, whatever. Let's see. With all due respect, Joe, you're not making the situation better for yourself. You made Eric assume you called him a pedo. Like that's the thing. Is like this could have been sorted instead of yelling at each other on like Twitter and comments. This could have been sorted in like a DM or something immediately. Like this could have been sorted in 5 seconds. And I get that they're both probably very busy dudes, but like set up a time to have a call or a live stream between the two of you and hash it out. That way it's like it's live, everyone can see it, it's not behind closed door nonsense. It's just if you both agree to that, go for it. And just be like, yeah, you know, here's Joe, here's Eric, and you know, bring on, you know, anybody else you want to bring on. Just have like a panel, you know, and like hash out all of those issues. And if it's a thing between Eric and Joe, then just have it be a thing between Eric and Joe. And like you either hash it out in private or you do it public, which, I mean, if you're both content creators, it would make sense to do it in public. That way everyone knows what's being said. And, you know, there's not any sort of this, you know, hearsay or he said, she said bullshit. That's just where I'm at. That's why every time, you know, back with all the fucking, all that shit with Ackman and everything. Anytime I, you know, went on criticizing somebody or whatever, or, you know, reacting to their content, I always gave them the option of like, hey, get in touch with me. Like, right here, you're in my comments. Like, you could, at any point, you know, and at one point, one of the guys that I had actually, you know, like, reviewed his content, like, he got in my comments. We had a long, like, thread of, like, 30 messages back and forth, you know, like, trying to get to the root of it. And that's how you get it sorted out. Is you just go over it, you know? And that's the thing. It's like, just offer to have a conversation, extend the olive branch, you know, not necessarily the olive branch of peace, but just as a gesture of communication, just be like, hey, I'm open to talking about this if you're open to talking about this. And then if they're not open to talking about it, then guess what? You know, in to use Eric's words, that makes them a punk bitch, you know? Like, you know, if I have a problem with somebody and I offer to discuss that problem with them and they refuse because they realize that they don't have prep time, they don't have any of this shit. This is like with Ben Shapiro's bullshit. He does this all the time, where Shapiro will go and like he never has like panels or anything with people who are like on his level of like debate club, so that he can always run circles around people because he's prepared for it and he knows it's coming. Like, I would love to see him on a live stream one day trying to answer things in real time and draw a complete blank because he's got nothing upstairs, man. It really is. He prepares talking points, and that's all he's got. But yeah, you know, that's the thing. It's just fucking hash it out and figure out what the deal is. You know, like don't have a spat with each other. Like what is this Twitter drama nonsense? What are we in fucking high school, guys? We are grown ass men here. Have a conversation with somebody and get over your feelings. Like, Jesus. You know, and because there are good points on both sides of the thing, and and like the one guy said, we're missing the forest for the trees here. Everybody's like so up in arms, they don't see the real point. They don't get the real issue that's happening here. And let's go see a couple more, maybe some stuff. I don't think anybody in this situation should apologize. I don't think Joe should apologize to Eric, and I don't think Eric should have to apologize to Joe. Or anybody that's involved in this should have to apologize to anybody else. It's like, apologies are for when you know what you've done is inherently and objectively wrong, and that because that is a one-sided like penance, you know, of like, I have sinned, my bad, right? It's like a confessional. But when it comes to like topics like this that need to have a more nuanced take, there's not really any apologizing. It should just be like, look, I'm sorry I went off the chain, and then you both say it. It's not just like one guy went off and the other guy went off. Like, no, because an argument happens between two parties, okay? It doesn't, like, you got so many people yelling into the void every day, calling people shit, but that never get talked about. It's just because if you go back and forth with these people, then it's both of you are then contributing to the problem. Let's see. Everyone loved Velma so much that she's now part of the Ninja Turtle universe. I'm just looking for some of these funny ones before we call it a day. Yeah, I can't wait to watch you try to defend this like you did She-Hulk, because that went so well. Yeah, I remember when he tried. I mean, shit, let's go look at that video. Him trying to defend that shit. Like, because there was a video he did at one point where, yeah, people are pissed we didn't hate She-Hulk, right? Like, that's some video. And I watched through all that, and it's like, yeah, like, I get it. You don't have an obligation to hate something. But at the same time, like, look at where it leads you to, Joe. People are pissed we didn't hate the first She-Hulk episode. Season 1 finale, epic fail ending. Joe, it's not that people are telling you you're wrong because we want you to be wrong or want you to feel bad. We're telling you, don't give things like Picard a chance. Don't give Star Wars a chance. Don't give these, Last of Us, all this. Don't give these products a chance because we know they've burned us before. We know it's going to happen again. And you delaying the inevitable and trying to give it every benefit of the doubt along the way is just wasting everybody's time. Right? Like, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. But, I mean, that's just where it is. I think that's the issue with it. And again, this wasn't really that big of a stream. It's just, like, a little test stream I wanted to do to try, the new setup. Like, because, again, I had to reinstall OBS and everything, so I gotta check the audio after this and see if it's gonna come out right. I know I had to adjust the mic at one point, so I might have to play with the filters a little bit. It's a pain in the ass because you have to adjust things, and it's just like, ugh, But, yep, that's where we're at. Anyway, that's it for the stream. Thanks to Rival and Sap for stopping by, adding to the conversation, all that. Yeah, that is it. I don't know when the next time I'll be streaming. I gotta figure out what my schedule is and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's it for the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do the usual. Like, subscribe, check out my streams, and I will see you guys in the next video. Reap the Rager, signing off.